80% of employees have experienced some sort of extreme stress at work. And 26% of employees at some point during their career will experience burnout. Another 25% of employees have actually cried because of the stress at work. All these statistics are basically saying the same thing. People have a really hard time establishing work-life balance. But in today's video, I'm going to give you 5 things that you need to do to establish and maintain a healthy work-life balance. Let's go. My name is Ben White with Ben Talks Talent. I've got 11 years experience in hiring, recruiting, talent acquisition, and team building, and I am passionate about using my experience to help you become the best candidate possible and land your next job. If you are interested in interview advice, tips, how to answer interview questions, and general hacks on getting your next job, then you should subscribe to this YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss any of my videos. And if you like this video, if at any point during this video you go, wow, that was a lot of value, do me a favor and hit that like button. It is a free, easy way for you to tell YouTube, this video does not suck and more people should see it. All right, with that being said, let's get into the video today. I want to talk about work-life balance because generally speaking, work-life balance is not something people achieve easily. In fact, a good portion of people in the United States and around the world struggle to achieve a healthy work-life balance. So I'm going to talk about what you can do to make sure you are one of the people who does have it. So the first thing I want you to do is interview around that. So what does that mean? It means when you go into an interview and you are speaking with a person who may be your future boss, if you don't ask them any questions about work-life balance, you're basically rolling the dice and hoping that they are a reasonable person who is going to respect the sanctity of working hours and home hours, and that is a bad plan. What you should actually be doing is asking questions around this. So what I might ask them is, what do you have in place to maintain work-life balance for effective employees? Or what sort of flexibility do you have in place so that effective employees are able to retain work-life balance? You might ask them a behavioral interview question too. Those are not just for candidates, they can be for hiring managers. A good example would be like, can you tell me about a time where an employee was late because of personal reasons and how you handled it as their boss? It's a great behavioral interview question. You are turning the tables on them and making them answer when it comes to how do you provide people work-life balance? Now, those are just 2 quick examples. I'm going to link in the description box a full video on 7 different great questions you can ask your future boss on work-life balance. It's a video I did maybe a month ago, so I'll link it in the description box so you can check that out as well. Now, what if you are one of those people who isn't interviewing, you already have a job, and you feel like the lines of work-life balance are a little bit blurred and they are not where they need to be? So what do you do if that describes you? So the first thing you can do is have a really honest and open discussion with your boss. Now, caveat here, if right now you are on a performance improvement plan, or if maybe things aren't going well at work, this might be a bad time to have this conversation because you're asking for more flexibility. But if everything is going well and you feel you have earned the right and you need more work-life balance, I would completely recommend doing this. Now, here are 3 things you need to accomplish in this conversation in order for it to be an effective conversation. The first thing, you need to thank them for your time. Hey, Ben, I really appreciate you taking the time. I know we are all busy, but this is really important to me, and I just want you to know that I appreciate you carving out some time so we can have this discussion. 2, the next thing you need to do is you need to express that you are still really interested in being as effective as possible at your job. You don't want this to come off as you're slacking, or you want to sleep in, or you want to leave early. You want it to be, look, I am still very passionate about my job and being as effective as possible. However, I would like for there to be a better balance when it comes to work-life balance. So that's the second thing you need to do, is establish your interest in still being extremely effective. The third thing you need to do is talk to them about what can we do together as a team so that I can come in, be as effective as possible, and then turn things off at 5 p.m. and over the weekend. And if you do all those things, and if you go through that, and they are a reasonable person, they should be pretty open to establishing the parameters and the guidelines so that you are able to achieve work-life balance. The reality is, your boss does not want you burning out, quitting, and leaving. If you are good at your job, they should want you to stay, so they should be open to working through this with you. Now, what if it's a totally different situation? What if it's because you work from home? Maybe it's because of the pandemic. Maybe you work from home in general. Maybe you used to work in the office. Now you work from home and you are having a hard time having work-life balance because of your family. So maybe they're coming in, they're knocking on the door, the dog is barking. I actually can't do anything about the dog, but with the people, I think I have a plan. So the first thing that I would recommend doing is finding a space. Now, some of you are thinking, oh, that's great, Ben. I'll just make an office. Thanks for the solution. I know that's not going to be a solution for everybody, but if you could find a basement or section off, even a different area in the living room or the dining room, and talk with your family about needing that space between certain periods of time to be your space. That is huge. If you have an office, that's an easy one. The next thing you want to do is say you're in that office. And say you're like, well, Ben, I've got the office, but it's still not a complete solution for me. What do? It's important to have the conversation with your family to establish boundaries and let them know, look, during these hours from 8 to 5, I need to not be disturbed. During the hours of 12 to 1, I'm actually going to come out and engage with you and have lunch, and then we can talk then. So if you need me, that is the time to talk to me. And then maybe establish secondary break areas like, hey, I'm gonna come out at 10 for 10 minutes. I'm gonna come out at 3 for 10 minutes. So if you have additional questions and you don't wanna wait for noon or 5, we can talk then. Establishing boundaries, establishing these guidelines is a great way, and it may not be perfect, but just having the conversation will probably bring a pretty significant amount of progress to this work-life balance journey. One of the things that I think is really interesting that people unknowingly and unwillingly enter into when it comes to preserving and not preserving their work-life balance is their cell phone. So when a company hires you and they go, all right, Ben, you've got two options. We could give you a company cell phone, or you can keep your own cell phone and we'll give you $50 every single month and you can expense it. Most people go, oh, well, I already have a phone. This will be like $50 free, right? Wrong. What you are paying for with that $50 is the ability for anyone associated with your company or your clients or just business in general to reach out to you. Now, when you say, you know what, I'll take the phone, what does that give you the ability to do? It gives you the ability at 5 p.m. to take the phone and turn it off, or take the phone and throw it across the room. Don't do that, but you can put it somewhere else. Basically, it gives you the ability to unplug, but most of us are going to have our cell phones with us on the weekend. And if you are taking the $50 reimbursement, what you are basically doing is trading that $50 for your time and space and your work-life balance. So one of the things I would consider is when you are asked this question is taking into consideration, is it worth it? Or might it be better to have the separation of your personal life and your work life? The last thing I want to talk about is actually doing it. For a lot of you, these first 4 steps, you might have been like, yes, gonna do this. This is gonna work. Can't wait. Awesome and good. But none of this actually matters if you don't do it. And if you don't, stay consistent. Anytime you put into practice a habit, it is real easy to let that slip and to be like, you know what? Maybe they can come in the morning, but in the afternoon, that's when I'm really blocking off my time. Or you know what? I'll take a couple of calls this evening. What happens when you do that is you start to break precedent and you start to slowly slide backwards. Maintaining work-life balance for people can be really challenging. Knowing that, you should do everything in your power to retain that, protect it, and not slide back into some of the bad habits that have you watching this video in the first place. So all the good habits, all the suggestions, all the hacks in the world mean nothing if you are personally not going to do it. So the next thing you need to do is put these in practice, maybe write them down, maybe watch this video in 2 to 3 weeks just to remind you what you need to be doing, but stay consistent, because if you don't stay consistent, you're never going to be able to keep it the way that you've designed it so that you have that healthy work-life balance. There you go. That is everything. I hoped it helped. If you like this video again and you're still here, do me a favor, hit that like button. It's a way for you to tell the YouTube algorithm that I do not suck and that more people would benefit from seeing this video, which I think they would. Have a great rest of the day. Good luck in your next interview and good luck maintaining work-life balance. You've got this.